Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 2015 Kia Soul Plus. Up front is a 2.0 liter inline 4, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now I am super excited to be driving this Kia Soul for two reasons. First of all, I always liked the Kia Soul. I've always had a connection to this car. One of my roommates has this car. I've spent a lot of time in these, and I think that they are really good cars, and I'm excited to share with you why I think that. But the second reason is the fact that the Kia Soul is funky. The Kia Soul is weird. And so I'm going to be pleading the case for funky and weird cars, giving you a little bit of a reason why they're so good and what makes them come to be. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that 2-liter inline 4 under the hood. That was the upgrade engine and made more power. This makes 164 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. There have been some oil issues reported on higher mileage engines. However, this being at 173,000 miles should be a case enough to say that they are relatively reliable. The power's fine. You don't really need more power here in the Kia Soul. I'm happy that they offered it in the era, but again, not necessary. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic, which is fine and dandy. However, in this era, and that I've driven here on the channel, you could find these with a 6-speed manual transmission. Shout out to Jason for letting me borrow his a few years ago to review. It makes it a lot of fun, and I'm just happy to see that you even had that option. Last but not least, of course, the Kia Soul is front-wheel drive. To my knowledge, they never did an all-wheel drive model. How does it feel to drive the Kia Soul? Well, the driving position is fantastic, and that's really one of the standout parts of the Kia Soul, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. But visibility is great. Ride quality isn't wonderful, but it is a more economy car, so to be expected. But again, that ride height and visibility is going to be a major selling factor here for the Kia Soul, so I like to see all of that. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 4 gauges and a screen. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer and screen. Again, this is for like odometer, average MPG, and current gear. And then off to the right, we have our fuel and coolant temperature. On the steering wheel, on the left, we have our mode, volume, and skip track, as well as phone options. And off to the right, we have cruise control, trip reset, and our steering mode. So there are 3 different steering modes you can select for comfort, normal, and sport, which this is an odd vehicle to have those selections. I don't know anyone that's driving a Kia Soul that says, yes, I need a sportier steering feel, but you do have that option here. Off to the left, we do have a speaker, as well as the climate control vent, gauge dimmer switch, traction control off, and our lighting options for music and mood. Very, very cool to see that here. Moving on to the door, we have power mirrors, power locks, and power windows, and moving into the center, we have another giant speaker up on the dash, as well as our climate control vents and hazard switch, and the infotainment. So this is a really nice infotainment screen. This is part of the upgrade for the Plus. The trim levels were base model, Plus, and Exclaim, which is the exclamation mark. So you get the bigger display with it. You also did get a backup camera. Now this current one doesn't work at the moment, but a backup camera in 2015 is super nice because it was 3 years before it was legally required. We do have some buttons on the sides like radio, media, phone, navigation, things like that. And down below, we do have our clean air climate controls. Clean air just means that it has a cabin air filter, which is pretty standard, but Kia wanted to advertise that. Single zone climate, and we also have active eco mode down below. We have our aux, USB, and 12-volt outlets. Some nice red trim around the cubby and the shifter for the automatic shifter. Nothing really too crazy to note here. It's a pretty standard Kia parts bin part. Down below that, we do have our cup holders, so we'll do a big friggin' bottle test. And unfortunately, the Kia Soul from 2015 fails, but nothing new here. Then we have the parking brake, center console, and the seats. The seats are cloth, although they do have this sort of red stitching and really fun design pattern to them, so I like seeing all of that. They've been relatively comfortable enough. They are a little bit on the harder side. I could see on a 4, 5, or 6 hour drive, these kind of getting a little too hard. However, they work. They function, and that's all I need. Lastly, about the interiors, that I do have this really nice panoramic sunroof up above. This is an option here on the Kia Soul, and really cool to see on this size and price of vehicle. However, we do have back seats, so let's hop back there and go do a back seat review. All right, I'm starting outside the car because I wanted to show how easy it is to get in. It's super easy to get in. Apparently, it's not super easy for me to set up a camera straight. Good Lord. That's a little bit better. All right, so we're in the back of the Kia Soul Plus, and a couple of things to note. I'm 5'11", not a small guy. I fit back here. I fit back here really, really well. My knees are not hitting the seat in front of me. My head's not hitting the ceiling, even with my cheapo sunglasses on my head. I have power windows. That is really the only features I have. I do have fold-down cup holders, which is nice, but I don't get any rear climate vents. I get these little LED lights on the ceiling, which is nice, but I do get to enjoy the panoramic sunroof, so that is a big plus. Other than that, nothing really too crazy to write home about. It's a back seat. It works. A lot of people use these for rideshare services, and it's clear to see why. Let's hop into the very back. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. Right around the back of the Kia Soul, we do have a handle down here to pull up, and a couple of things to note. First of all, you do get this nice privacy cover that does fold up. Really like this for parking in urban spots so people don't know what's back here. And then we do have a 12-volt outlet, our Infinity speaker, and that's pretty much it. We do have some underfloor storage down here. Nothing really too crazy, but definitely nice to see all of that. Plenty of space back here for the modern normal person. Is it a U-Haul truck? Not quite, but you do get some pretty adequate space. I think for the groceries, you'll be good enough. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and the Kia Soul has always looked a little funky. I love the look of it, and I really like the black with the red accents. I think the red accents really wake up the design of the car, make it look a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unique than you might suspect out of a Kia Soul. Although this is a very unique, odd car as it is, I think that red striping just helps out a little bit more. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts, and that's split into two different categories. Well, first of all, why do I like the Kia Soul so much? This might sound redundant, but it feels like they designed this car for actual human beings. What I mean by that is that it's easy to get in and out of. It's easy to see out of. When you would think of a well-designed car for the modern human, this is kind of it. It's very ergonomic in several different ways. I don't have to reach too far for anything. I don't have to get up into it. I don't have to get down into it. It's more of a lateral movement, kind of like the Scion XB was, which is why these cars and the Scion XB used to sell really well with elderly buyers, because they don't have to lift themselves up or plop themselves down into a seat. It's a lateral move, so it's easy to get in and out of. If you have back problems, or if you just don't like getting into low little cars, then this is a great pick. It also has a simple 2-liter inline-4, 6-speed automatic, has nice features like the panoramic sunroof and the backup camera and the steering feel and the interior lighting, all of that. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was how great funky and weird cars are. I recently had the privilege of having dinner with the designer and creator of the Pontiac Vibe. He's a super cool, nice guy, and he's so passionate about the projects that he's worked on. He also worked on the Saab 9-3, the Pontiac Solstice, and now he works on Cadillac's EV projects like the Vistic. That's actually where I met him. The Pontiac Vibe was a very strange, weird car, and so I had a million questions for him. And basically what the story ended up being is that they wanted it to be weirder. They wanted it to be crazier. The original name of it was the Pontiac Vertex because it was where sport and practicality met. They wanted to do a speaker system that was detachable like you see now in the Tacomas, but what happens is that the creators of the car have these great ideas. This is the concept phase, and then they have to work in all the legalities, headlight height, crash safety, airbags, all that stuff, and it waters down the project ever so slightly. And then they send that project with its safety features off to the suits. and they figure out how to make it affordable, how to manufacture it, how to make it cheaper. And along the way, a lot of cars lose that original spunk that the idea was started with. So any car on the road that is funky, weird, or strange went through a very rigorous process to be that way. And any sort of funkiness is a privilege to have in cars. This car alone, the fact that it exists and has weird trim levels like the exclamation point and the plus, it's astonishing that that made it through the suits. You see the red trim around it, you think, oh yeah, at the factory they just have to put a little bit of red on it. Well, a company has to source where they're gonna get those red vinyl decals. Let's say in South Korea, maybe there's no company that makes red decals for 200 miles. Now you have to worry about the trucking in or freight of these red decals. You have to order hundreds, if not thousands of miles worth of red decals. The weird color changing speakers in here, they had to talk to their speaker supplier. Is this possible? What can we do? How can we get the lights? What lights can we use? How many colors can we use? Can we put it to a switch that switches music to mood? And then there's even more meetings about where to put that switch. Why would we put the switch off to the left and not in the center? And then do we offer that on every trim lever? Do we make that a separate package? Do we make that an add-on dealer option? There's so much that goes into the cars. And so, while I'm driving the Kia Soul today, I wanted to plead the case of many other weird cars that came before it and came after it. I'm so happy that they exist because I know the internal teams fought tooth and nail to have those cars exist. Someone at Kia fought for these red accents on the interior. Someone fought day and night to have that little mood-changing light, or the weird speakers, or the red stitching. That is what makes this car so cool to me. I think it's very easy to see a finished product and go, yeah, cool, okay, and go home. But the hours that were put into cars like this to make them fun and to make you smile while behind the wheel is absolutely wonderful. This is a cool car. It's easy to get in and out of, it's easy to drive, and it has spunk. And in a world of boring, lame crossovers, the Kia Soul was a breath of fresh air. And I hope that it continues to be that way. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Jermaine for letting me borrow his Kia Soul for today's video. He's been absolutely wonderful to work with. We have a couple other videos planned for later on in the summer, and I'm very excited to share those with you. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.